I did this. And then I did this. I did this. And then I did this. I did this.
Tonight on CBS News.
In a shocking development, the federal government says being broke is allowed, but if you're broke and glowing, you are officially now a suspect.
You can't be glowing more than your financial status. Look your problem.
Producers have confirmed next season of Love Island will merge with the Hunger Games. Only one couple will survive the new format. Everyone else dies.
Senator Buck Nutley has unveiled his Big Girthy bill, a new proposal meant to rival the Big Beautiful bill. But does size really matter?
The shocking trend of Labubu violation continues as more and more people are finding their dolls' holes stretched wide open and reeking of shame.
If you thought Bigfoot was bad, wait till you meet his gooey cousin. A kumsquatch was just spotted in Dongwood National Forest.
Did you know IKEA has released a home glory hole kit called the Fuke Hole? It includes pre-drilled panels, mounting brackets, and a stain-proof finish. We begin with breaking news out of Massachusetts, where residents are reeling from what scientists are calling a cum-comet impact.
Officials are asking everyone to stay indoors and to wear N95 masks in case of cum aerolization.
President Trump kicking off another busy week at the White House.
It has been yet another eventful week in Washington.
The activity level is off the charts. The president dialed in. He is executing his agenda at a lightning fast pace. Here's something we rarely see in American politics. President Trump is actually keeping his campaign promises, and he's doing them as quickly as possible.
This administration's moving at political light speed, and they're just getting started.
We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do what I'm doing.
Goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Official, former President Donald Trump will be running for president again in 2024.
Donald Trump got the stamina and the will to do this again? He's come under such tremendous...
Everything is on the line in this election.
A busy day in the campaign world up in Butler today. Former President Trump holding a rally at 5 o'clock.
He just tried to kill President Trump.
Not even an assassin.
If we're not careful, AI could make it impossible to distinguish truth from fiction in the news we consume.
So, Keisha, what's a high-value man to you?
A man that gave me 10 kids, 3 evictions, $10 on Cash App, and still pull up in a Nissan Altima that sound like it got asthma.
Day one of trying to make it to work without yelling at a pedestrian. Pray for me, y'all.
Still alive, still unemployed. But baby, I look G-O-D doing it. Oh my God, I'm not even late, I'm just dramatic. Y'all know I will risk it all for a good melon.
We have breaking news. A laser-guided ship missile has just been launched from Rectomopolis, reportedly targeting Pennsylvania.
We're live from the scene where a laser-guided ship missile launched from Rectomopolis has struck Pennsylvania.
This just in, a pubnadal blankets St. Louis in a thick bush this evening.
Downtown is completely covered in pubic hair, causing highways to close out of caution.
It's coming right for us. We need to get out of here now. Oh my God, it's taking the houses! A massive gizzard has buried Kamlambus in 2 feet of dongload. Locals blame the lack of preparation on Mayor Linda P. Slurp.
The city of Columbus is reeling today after an unprecedented event. What officials are calling a gizzard has left downtown streets. Customs officials at Orbital Port 69 have seized over 420 stolen jork blades, many still warm and dripping. A magnitude 6.9 queefquake rattled Clamlip Valley this morning, releasing a torrent of pussy farts. The children's reading session of This Little Piggy Got Pegged has been cancelled, with parents saying the book is too anatomically detailed for kids.
Lawmakers remain deadlocked on the big beautiful bill, with some saying $10 billion more is needed for fleshlights and robo-cooters for dudes on dry spells.
Los Angeles, because she served her fried chicken instead of a quinoa salad. Megan Mayonnaise went to the restaurant called The Last Supper, where she claimed she was flabbergasted that they would serve her fried chicken when she in fact ordered a quinoa salad. Ms. Mayonnaise said waitress Sharkeisha Trinity knowingly gave her fried chicken, although Ms. Mayonnaise pleaded that she didn't want to eat any urban food. We have Ms. Mayonnaise along with her attorney, Roger Bangher. Can you explain how you were feeling, Ms. Mayonnaise?
I told Sharkeisha Trinity 300 times, let me speak with your manager. And she just kept twerking, sticking her tongue out and laughing at me.
We have exclusive CCTV footage from the restaurant of Miss Mayonnaise and Sharkeisha's fried chicken confrontation. Miss Mayonnaise is suing Sharkeisha Trinity for everything she got, which is 3 deadbeat fathers and $100 in unpaid child support.
We need your $80,000 down payment now.
Can I do 6 child support checks, 1 EBT card, 10 Section 8 credits, and 2 Medicaid payments?
We take it all.
Welcome back to White News Network. I'm your host, Kimberly Kumquat. Today, the BFI released documents that claim no special files exist from that one famous island. Wink, wink. BFI director said, quote unquote, although you've seen plenty of known people at that island, no American people, you were just seeing shit. The BFI office also released perfectly edited 24-hour surveillance footage of that jail cell where the main guy in charge was being held. At this point, these guys are playing in our face. Most of you are too blind to see it.
Welcome back, folks, to the White News Network. I'm your host, Tom Blandley, and tonight a white woman is leaving her husband after trying a YN. HOA President Skylar White told WNN she is filing for divorce because, quote unquote, after trying a YN, you never go back. Her husband, Kevin White, owner of Proud Boys Country Club, says he is devastated by the news and that it is, quote unquote, total malarkey. The divorce hearing is set for July 13th at Cornbread District Family Court. If Mrs. White wins, she will be entitled to half of his shit that she never worked for. Next up, rock star Roger Bangher has already impregnated 3 women on his Fuckfest tour. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Want to do some totally unnecessary shit like mountain jump with a fly suit on? Then head over to whitepeopleshit.com.
Whitepeopleshit.com.
Swim with sharks, it's a blast. Make memories that last.
Whitepeopleshit.com.
And then I did this. I did this. And then I did this. I did this.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's do some news, man. Let's do some news. Let me check my sound. Nice. Excellent. We're going to start off with some lefties losing it.
Good evening and welcome to a program devoted entirely to lefties losing it. Let's start with the fascinating revelations about how much the Democrats are paying mindless, unprincipled influencers to post anti-Trump, pro-Democrat propaganda. Crap like this.
Mr. Trump is out here trying to delete the Department of Education. Teachers are getting cut left and right. Our classes are packed and we have like zero funding. Trump says America first and then guts the most American
Yeah, and I would see this type of stuff all over TikTok. We were talking about this the other day. And you'd be looking at these ridiculous, nonsensical takes on what's going on just domestically about anything that's going on with the Trump administration. And they're like outrageous takes. You're like, these people can't be this stupid. And now you realize that a lot of these people are getting paid for these stupid takes, and then they go viral, and then the NPCs pick it up and they repeat it like mindless robots. Social engineering.
Institutions we've got.
This is signaling preparations to possibly deploy the United States military against American citizens in Chicago.
Every Republican is currently in Congress voting to destroy the lives of millions of Americans.
So authentic, so much conviction from lefties losing it. Not really. According to a new report, a secretive dark money group tied to the Democratic Party is paying online influencers up to $8,000 a month to disseminate left-leaning talking points. Among those named is Olivia Juliana, the Gen Z activist who spoke at the 2024 Democratic National Convention.
As the saying goes, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
And the Democrats thought she was just the influencer to bring young, disaffected men back into the Democrat camp.
I spend a lot of time on college campuses, and I spend a lot of time with young men. I love young men.
Yeah, you know they were calling her Peter Griffin. Look at that. They were calling her Peter Griffin. And she had a complete meltdown on X about that shit.
I love frat guys.
Yeah, that little campaign didn't work out so well, no matter how much she loves young men. Yep, the Democrats are so desperate to engineer support that they are paying influencers up to $8,000 a month to post lefty propaganda. They are trying to create the illusion of grassroots support, just like they tried to engineer fake news, Russian collusion hoaxes, and those weird polls right before the election that were all wrong in the same direction. And talking about polls, let's check in with CNN's polling expert on how well the Democrats are going. How are they going, Harry?
Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing? Oh, my goodness gracious. What are we talking about here in terms of big party registration changes in the key swing states? Let's look at the key 4 swing states that, in fact, do keep track of registration by party. Look, the Republican Party is in their best position at this point in the cycle since at least 2005. In all 4 of these key battleground states, we go out to the Southwest. Arizona. How about Nevada? Republicans haven't done this well since 2005. Oh, my goodness gracious, at this point in the cycle. North Carolina, I couldn't find a point at which Republicans were doing better at this point in the cycle. It's at least this century. It probably goes way back in the last century. And Pennsylvania, very similar. Republicans doing better at this point than at any point this century, at least as far as I could find.
I should have given the lefties a trigger warning before that last clip. For the rest of you, perhaps a cold shower or a cigarette after hearing this.
When it comes to party registration, Republicans have made massive gains compared to 8 years ago. They are in their best position in these key 4 swing states. But at this point, as I said at the beginning, the Democratic brand is in about as good a position as the Cracker Barrel rebrand. It is bad, bad, bad for the Democrat.
Bad, bad, bad for the Democrats. And one of the reasons the Democrats are struggling is their soft on crime philosophy. They don't care about law and order. They don't believe in properly punishing offenders. They don't prioritize victims and law-abiding members of the community. Just listen to this lefty losing it at the DNC summer meeting last week, claimed that Americans don't care about violent crime. They're more worried about addressing mental health issues.
Issues voters care about. Where does Trump go?
migrant crime, carjackings, the really lurid, awful stuff that is a crazy, crazy visual. Don't take the bait, because most Americans are more worried about how are we going to address mental health issues, the visible homelessness that we see on streets.
The visible homelessness is primarily in Democratic strongholds.
And how do we deal with mental health and other issues that drive the sort of random incidents that scare all of us? That's what you should be talking about. That's where you should be focused. Don't take the bait in talking about migrant crime or carjackings or the things that...
Yeah, ignore all ignore all the crime and all the stuff people are really worried about. That'll work. Yo, now see, I know the polling numbers are lowest registration for Democrats, polling numbers down. But we're gonna keep checking back with Rasmussen because he had one off poll saying that the midterms aren't in the bag. I gotta buy the number segment later on, and it's I think it's 24 hours old. Polling numbers on projections for the House in 2026. I think I haven't looked at it all the way through. We're gonna do it live. I think the Republicans win the majority again. But don't count the Democrats out yet. They still might pull a Hail Mary.
that actually don't matter to that many Americans.
With the likes of her advising the Democrats, they'll be in the political wilderness for some time to come. And they're going so badly that the frontrunners to be the Democrats.
Yo, what up, Brooklyn? I see you, Playboy. What up with you, man? What up, Brooklyn? We're just doing some news, man. I'm gonna be in. I'm gonna be out. Messing with my new soundboard. I got these new sound drops. They just added like a soundboard feature in the StreamYard. I loaded it up with some sound effects. Well, here's my explosion, John. I like that gong. Yeah, we're in there with the sound effects. I'm gonna have to find some cool shit to load up on the board.
Presidential candidate are awful. One of them is this woman.
And I ask you to remember the context in which you exist.
Yo, what up, Byron? I see you renewed your membership too, man. Appreciate you. Aaron renewing memberships and shit. Hell yeah. Appreciate you, bro. No, you're right. It says, good evening. The biggest mental health issue that needs addressing is the dysphoria the left is pushing us to accept. No, I agree. It was out of control under the Biden administration. We see the executive orders Trump's passing, and it's passing in some of the states, banning the what am I saying? The beta blockers, those inhibitors, and banning men in sports and trans surgeries. This is the beginning of the rollback, and that's why we're seeing the uptick in violence from the T's.
Yeah, I did that.
Gosh, I miss that weirdo. She's still a front runner along with this next dude who has managed to cause untold damage in California. These days, Gavin Newsom pretends to be against the excesses of the trans cult, but it wasn't long ago when he was laughing at the notion of parents being sidelined as their kids are being transitioned.
Why should parents not know if their kids are transitioning at school?
It's a hell of a thing. You're talking about one.
Yeah, I can't unsee this. I mean, aside from the Beavis and Butthead meme, I put on the community tab. You know who? And I said this before. You know who Newsom is? He's Patrick from American Psycho. Look at him. Even his whole affectations and everything. He's all things to all people and no things to anyone.
1% of the population. Climate change, its impact 100% of the population wasn't even brought up. And we're talking about trans issues.
Here in California, this is an issue for you.
It's a big issue for parents. This is a front and center issue. It's the great, this is one of the greatest distractions. It's classic. 1% of the population in the United States. These kids just want to live. These kids.
Yeah, that's the point. They are 1% of the population. That being the case, the other 99% of the population shouldn't be put under onerous restrictions with regard to this 1%. Once again, it's social engineering. And they're forcing social and civic, making social, civic, and political, cultural changes around that. That's why it had to be rolled back. And as I've said before, and I'm saying this the delicate way, these tea kits have to be manufactured, by and large. Look at Charlize Theron's kids. Look at Will Smith's kids. Look at you got they telling us not to believe our eye.
Just want. We're going to go to. We're having a debate about trans issues at the Reagan Library. It's not to be a shame.
These kids just want to live. Oh, dear, Gavin. That video is all the Republicans need. They just have to play that on high rotation to ensure we never end up with President Newsom. God forbid. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. You do not hate the leftist media enough. You think you do, but you don't. And let me again demonstrate why. After the sickening Minnesota shooting where a trans-identified monster shot multiple children, killing 2 and injuring dozens.
Yeah, I was just making that point. Yeah, with regard to the uptick in violence. Who would have thought a little news segment in Australia tends to get it right more often than over in the States, and she does a lot of the heavy lifting for me, at least with these segments, because she's there's this huge montage of lefty lunacy for my opening salvos during the news show. Gotta love it.
More. The media were not only eager to downplay the killer's trans identity and what he expressed in his manifesto, the confession about why he committed this horrific act, but they were also very mindful of respecting this child-killing monster's preferred pronouns. Here is Jake Tapper.
Because there's been some confusion about what the shooter's name was.
Yes.
Robin Westman's mother applied to change her child's name in 2019. It was at one point Robert Paul Westman.
Correct.
But since she identifies as a female and wants her name to reflect that identification, was underage, it's now Robin West.
No, Jake, it was not a she, never was, never will be. It was a child-killing man. Here is ABC.
Yeah, complete clown show. And Jay Tapper's a freaking hack.
Again, referring to this killer as a she and obediently observing this murdering bastard's preferred pronouns.
The minor child, quote, identifies as a female and wants her name to reflect that.
Indeed, the list of TV hosts and media outlets playing this game was lengthy. Here is Andrew McCabe on CNN again, taking a break from lying about Russian collusion to note that the killer's mother is grieving for her daughter.
For the mother to
Look at this. You know when you're in a supermarket and you're in the checkout aisle, and you know those like back in the day, I don't know how much it is they do it now, because everything's like self-checkout. But it used to be you'd go and it'd be all those tabloid magazines right while you while you got your stuff on the conveyor belt and shit, and it'd be like child found with alien head and stuff like that. This is what CNN has become. It's like tabloid news. It's clown world. And I guess these people are getting paid so much. It's like, to hell with journalistic integrity. I know CNN's ratings are in the toilet, and these talking heads are going to ride their salary off into the sunset. But this is tabloid news now. It's a shame, because actually CNN, you actually used to be a fairly decent news network. And it's also a joke that guys like me and other guys on the internet just doing off the cuff commentary. I got a freaking headset on. Off the cuff commentary does better news analysis than this syndicated news, and that we can sit here and make fun of it. It's a clown. It's clown world.
Not even return to the state to answer law enforcement questions, to try to provide some assistance. I'm sure she's grieving for her daughter.
And here is PBS, the taxpayer-funded PBS, cutting off a Democrat politician, Amy Klobuchar, who used accurate pronouns to describe this mass shooter. The host then corrected the senator.
Of course, the hate, you're going to find that this perpetrator, that this horrific offender, that it was all-purpose hate, right? He hated a lot of different groups. It wasn't one ideology or another.
We're going to have to leave it there. That is Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you for thinking of us. Thank you.
And just a point of clarification, Senator Klobuchar referenced the shooter as he. Although police have identified a suspect, it's still unclear at this time what that person's gender is.
PBS at the heart of the propaganda push, and that's why they got their federal funding snatched from them. Well played, Trump administration. What up, Brian? Will, I see you in the building, Playboy. Thanks for dropping by. Let's go.
Or how they identify.
And the media would have you believe that this killer who put together a manifesto expressing his hate for Christians, for Jews, for Donald Trump, indeed, he wanted to kill the president. And yet the media would have you believe that no one knows his motives. They're oblivious to the motives or to the fact that there's been a spate of trans-identified mass shooters. And shame on the politicized Minneapolis police for their cowardice and, of course, the Democrat Minneapolis mayor.
And bear in mind, this is Tampon Tim's state. Does it all make sense now? Yo, what up? Kwame in the building. What up with you, Playboy? Thanks for dropping by. I got this new soundboard. I'm going to go to town on it.
We don't have a motive at this time.
It's unclear what the motive was.
Again, there's just nothing specific in the evidence that's been recovered.
This is crazy because we covered this the other night. They actually have the weapon, the magazine, the scope, all that says "Kill Trump Now," and we don't know what the motive is. Executed a bunch of kids. We have a complete system failure going on in this country. Trump, whether you like him or not, man, is a reboot to the system. We're looking at complete and total system failure. And I've been debating whether to cover this or not. I guess I may, especially in light of this. I mean, have you seen what's going on over in Britain, Spain, Germany, Poland? Where else? Something just happened in Geneva. But Scotland, their government's out of control. Do you know that 30 people are arrested monthly for just posting stuff online? And, you know, they've got roaming packs of immigrants going around graping like minors, boys and girls. And that in Scotland, you're getting arrested for defending yourself. Yo, it's that's the EU. That's what they were trying to import over here in the States. Luckily, we're all armed, but nonetheless.
There's no information, nothing specific to identify a specific motive, but they'll be continuing to talk to people to see if there was a flag, if something may have popped up that they can look into.
There's no clear motive, and that's what we want to know. Was this a revenge shooting because there were prior affiliations to the school? Is this notoriety?
The shooter identified, we are told, as female, legally changed their name from Robert to Robin. There's no connection yet
from that to the motive.
I don't believe that how the shooter identifies currently in this investigation right now is of significant importance.
The mayor also calling on people.
They always got some goofy black dude up there co-signing this nonsense. That's why, like I said, if you're in 2025, if you're an American black male and you're not some old boomer Negro or backdooria, you got some splaining to do. Aaron says, it was ironic seeing Tim talk about this when his T people rhetoric directly, contributes to the mindset of kids like the shooter. Speaking of Tim Walz, it's completely been swept under the rug about the on his watch, the two senators that they got holes put in them on his watch, and one of the shooter worked for Tim Walz directly. We haven't heard anything about that.
Well, to quote, stop villainizing the trans community after learning that the suspect, who was born male, identified as female.
Spoke about this so profoundly and powerfully.
I have heard about a whole lot of hate that's being directed at our trans community. Anybody that is going to use this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community.
This is not the time to jump to conclusions about.
When they keep saying this, our community, we're talking about 1% nationwide of the actual population, because they have to be manufactured and it's a dysphoria. So we're talking about nominal numbers of people.
The shooter, right? What his ideological views might have been.
And well, down to Tom.
This is what is called a cudgel. They're using this issue just like, here's what the everything's racist trope is not having the political leverage it used to have. Trump bad is not having the political leverage it used to have to rally their base and raise money, etc., etc., etc. So now they're doubling down on the T, and no pun intended. And you see over in New York, they're starting to lean double full socialist / communist. I mean, at this point, they might as well just rename themselves the Democratic Socialist Party. And yeah, Brooklyn, this guy is a complete fraud.
Elliot for putting together that compilation. And there are some in the media upset that the killer's trans identity was mentioned at all.
Say demonic, and then it's transgender maniac shoots up Catholic school. They could very easily say time and time again.
Well, that is that. Since you guys are in the media, that is reporting the facts. That is, in fact, what actually happened. You get the ball.
Straight white maniac shoots up Catholic school.
There's a lot of misinformation circulating right now. This individual, as far as we know, did identify as transgender. However, as we look at the spectrum of mass casualty events in our nation's history, there have been a range of motivations and a range of profiles that have been associated with mass casualty events. You look at the shooting in Charleston at a historically black church in 2015. That was perpetrated by a white supremacist.
Yeah, let's go back to 2015.
We're about to go to Chicago, and I want to point out while there was a mass shooting on Labor Day, 50 people shot. And the Democrats don't want federal help from the federal government. If you guys don't see the fraud, the scam, and the play, I don't know what to tell you.
Perhaps we can focus on this mass shooting and a number of others like it in recent years.
The Denver shooter was trans, the Aberdeen shooter was trans, the Nashville shooter was trans, the Georgia shooter was trans, the Philadelphia shooter was trans, the Uvalde shooter was trans, the Colorado shooter was trans, and now the Minnesota shooter was trans. I think.
Did you guys get that? That's why I'm doing this segment, so I can clip it up. This one's for the public record. Did you get that one? Did you get that? Shout out to Tito, because Tito called this. Let's try that again.
We know did identify as transgender. However, as we look at the spectrum of mass casualty events in our nation's history, there have been a range of motivations and a range of profiles that have been associated with mass casualty events. You look at the shooting in Charleston at a historically black church in 2015. That was perpetrated by a white supremacist.
Yeah, let's go back to 2015, or perhaps we can focus on this mass shooting and a number of others like it in recent years.
The Denver shooter was trans, the Aberdeen shooter was trans, the Nashville shooter was trans, the Georgia shooter was trans, the Philadelphia shooter was trans, the Uvalde shooter was trans, the Colorado shooter was trans, and now the Minnesota shooter was trans. I think pointed out by the Walsh.
There you go. I played that back on purpose. I think I'm actually going to clip that segment and we're going to re-go over that on the Sunday show.
Is that even if there is no clear ideology, there is something in the water with the untouchable nature of the trans identity until just the past really year that you could even talk about it, frankly, and what appears to be a kind of underlying mental instability that tends to disproportionately give rise to these school shootings.
Now, here is a dude identifying as a woman, a compassionate, loving lefty, expressing sadness for the kids that were murdered. But listen to the rest of what he says. This is absolutely putrid and callous, just gross.
I feel terrible for the kids. I feel so bad for not just the victims, but the people who witnessed it and will now have to live with that for the rest of their lives. I don't feel bad for their parents. This happened at a Catholic school. There should have been no children there at all. We know what the church does to kids, so I feel terrible for the kids. May the universe protect them from their Catholic parents.
What a gross individual. Now, one man who has had enough of the media, political and activist classes' lies and gaslighting is Seb Gorka. Let's hear from the White House counterterrorism czar on CNN, correcting the host's dodgy data and conclusions.
Oh, good. Yeah, this is a good exchange. We'll actually clip it at the end of his exchange. I like Gorka. He's straight to the point.
2016 and 2020, 96% were non-trans men. So I know you're focusing on this shooter being trans.
Well, no, because your facts obfuscate two things. You are using data based upon the predominant gun violence, which is gang-on-gang violence with zero ideological content. If you remove all of that, the gang violence on the streets of Chicago, LA, Detroit, then you come down to a much smaller data set. So
well played, sir. Then you come down to a much smaller data set. Facts.
It's like those who say, gun violence in America causes so many deaths, and then fail to note that the majority of the stats they are using refer to also suicides by gun, which of course is not what we are talking about here today. So let's concentrate on mass shootings at schools, specifically Christian or Catholic schools. Then the data set is wholly different. So don't conflate different data sets just to make a political point. There was an ideological content to this attack. That's what terrorism is. It's not because somebody didn't get the drug deal they wanted. It is an ideological message, whether it was anti-Israel, as in this case, whether it targeted President Trump in its rhetoric, as we saw on one of the magazines written by the perpetrator on that YouTube video, or whether we saw the fact that it was anti-Christian and targeting children. That has nothing to do with gang violence. Let's not mix the two things up.
Mainstream news is not made for critical thinking from their guests. You see how she was dumbfounded?
Start with CBS, who not too long ago had to pay Donald Trump tens of millions of dollars for their dishonest reporting. But it appears that they've learnt little from that experience. Watch what they did to Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem Watch where they cut off her answer in the footage that they actually put to air. They cut off all the pertinent facts she listed about illegal immigrant and gangbanger Kilmar Abrigo Garcia. CBS didn't put to air anything about this thug being a member of MS-13, being a wife beater, and a creep who tried to get nude photos of minors.
And the one thing that we will continue to do is to make sure that he doesn't walk free in the United States of America. This individual was a known human smuggler, MS-13 gang member, an individual who was a wife beater, and someone who was so perverted that he solicited nude photos from minors. And even his fellow human traffickers told him to knock it off. He was so sick in what he was doing and how he was treating small children. So he needs to never be in the United States of America.
Just shameful stuff from CBS. Talking about shameful, let's check in with the new AOC, Jasmine Crockett, the radical Democrat from the great state of Texas. Let's have a listen to how this privileged young woman used to sound when she was being her authentic self.
No one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up.
That's the real Jasmine. See if you can detect the subtle difference with the inauthentic ghetto version she's now showcasing in the media.
Maybe because these people, they are crazy because they always talk about how Christian they is. Yeah, I don't know how many of them on that side are getting divorced because they getting caught up sleeping with their co-workers, staffers, interns, all the things. Yeah, you ain't got to believe me. Just go Google. You'll find some of it. I'm telling you, and the wives is being messy and petty. They putting it in the divorce. I'm like, ooh, that's got to be true because your lawyer would know that they going to lose it.
Lord child, they're talking about how Christian there is. Oh my God, Kamala and Hillary would be proud of that effort. Remember their accent switch-ups. Now let's check in on the celebs. They are not doing too well, sadly. Rosie O'Donnell in particular seems to be afflicted with all sorts of delusions, including the notion that the Minnesota school shooter, the trans-identified lefty who wanted to kill Donald Trump, she thinks that means he is a Republican and he's MAGA.
All right, bet. That's a wrap. Let's load up the Chicago segment. Here we go. Trump's feud with Chicago escalates. So when Crockett runs for Senate, the attack ads will be filled with these clips. Spot on. You know what? They probably are going to put some money behind it. They got nobody else, and they need a quiche out in front to push some of their nonsense talking points.
Democrat pollster Mark Penn wrote this opinion piece, quote, Trump is trying to save 100,000 American lives while Democrats let cities spiral out of control. Senior correspondent Mike Tobin is live in Chicago. Mike.
And Harris, we're now up to 9 people who have been shot since the holiday weekend ended. And the holiday weekend saw all those gunfire, all the gunfire you're talking about. 50 people shot and 8 of them killed. Mayor Brandon Johnson insists that Chicago does not have a violence problem and has a gun problem with guns coming in from red states. And the Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker, vows that he will fight President Trump as the president says he's obligated to send guardsmen into Chicago.
Call him. No, I will not call the president asking him to ask him for troops. Chicago does not want troops on our streets. Chicago will continue to have a violence problem as long as red states continue to have a gun problem. Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people.
Most of the people we speak with here in Chicago say if the Guard will help get a handle on the crime, send in the troops. But we do find people who say Chicago already has a police force and the cops should be doing that job.
It's gotten out of hand.
it's way too much. And it's a lot of senseless killing.
The National Guard will only be a temporary solution to an ever-lasting problem. Because even if you get National Guard here, sure, crime will go down, but I don't think that it will get to the root of the problem. It'll slap a Band-Aid on.
Crime is everywhere, but I think it's just where we are in the city of Chicago, the rate is just a little bit out of control. So whatever measures might help.
Personnel with the Department of Homeland Security are already staging at the Great Lakes Naval Station just north of Chicago. Uniformed personnel have been spotted here in the loop. And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem promises ramped up immigration enforcement in Chicago. As far as the Guard, the Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said yesterday that Texas National Guardsmen are already staging in Illinois. I spoke with a contact in Governor Abbott's office who said that's not true. Harris, back to you.
All right, Mike Tobin, thank you for setting that up for us. In focus now, House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, great to see you today. Look, I'm trying to get my mind around. So if you have a problem in one state, let's just say the state of New Jersey, and people are stealing things, and you're going to blame a neighboring state because of what's going on in your state. That makes no sense. Illinois, under J.B. Pritzker, is out of control.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Harris, and it's great to be with you. Not only is Illinois out of control, my home state of Minnesota, in particular, Minneapolis, is out of control with the failed governor, Tim Walz. Look.
Well, Brooklyn says this incompetent imbecile had the nerve to say Trump is putting politics before the people. This poll, he should be in handcuffs. There's like a scene from The Dark Knight with the Joker, and it was like, as ridiculous as things look like it's part of the actual plan, believe it, as bad as a job on the surface that it looks like Brendan Johnson is doing, he's actually doing his job for the Democratic Party. He's siphoning and funneling off those funds, keeping the sanctuary city open, and completely fleecing his constituents. He's doing his job.
Donald Trump is the law and order president. He campaigned on making America safe again. You see what he's already done in Washington, D.C. And by the way, maybe Tim Walz in Minnesota and Governor Pritzker in Illinois should take a message from Muriel Bowser right here in the District of Columbia. She started with the same kind of worthless rhetoric, pushing back against this attempt to make the streets safe again. And yesterday she issued an executive order saying they're going to fully cooperate with the administration, President Trump, and his efforts. I mean, you've got violent crime down in this city already, Harris, by almost 50%. You've got carjackings down by almost 90% in just a short period of time. And yet, you just pointed out, Illinois, Chicago is out of control. People, innocent victims, are getting killed on an incredible basis. And J.B. Pritzker wants to blame somebody else. And look at Minnesota. I mean, Tim Walz and his crazy policies, and it bleeds down into the city of Minneapolis, and a worthless prosecutor named Mary Moriarty. They don't hold any criminals accountable. Do you know, Harris, we need people like you back reporting in Minnesota where you started, because you would be telling people that we now have, because of Tim Walz, Murder-apolis is back. I mean, you had 6 people killed last week.
You called it Murder-apolis? I never heard that. Murder-apolis, word? And you got Tim Walz pushing fatigue. Kwame Kaiju with the $5 super chat, man. Thanks for supporting the stream.
Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the prettiest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town?
Sure enough.
Well, who am I?
Sure enough.
Who am I?
Sure enough.
I can't hear you.
Sure.
We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up.
Let's go.
Or this week, and you've got 44 since the beginning of the year. Look, our residents are starting to wake up to the fact that these people are the ones that are playing politics with their lives. And I think President Trump is showing everyone that there is a better way. I think he's going to win out on this one.
Oh, that was a heart punch, because we remember those days. Murderopolis. That's untenable. It cannot be sustained. They've got to do something. Work with this president. And look, you mentioned Tim Walz. I have to get your take on it. I mean, he's joking about this rumor that's going on, the death of President Trump. I mean, it's sick. How does he have the time? Look at that city.
Look, this guy's a complete and total failure. They had a circus in Minneapolis last week, I think it was. The convention, they called it, the DNC, and he was literally blaming Republican rhetoric for the assassination of, even though she was a Democrat, our friend Melissa Hortman and her husband. It could not be more damaging what this guy did.
Bang, there you go. That's the name I was looking for in that first segment. Melissa Hortman. There you go. Yeah. That's on Waltz's watch. And the dude who did it worked for Waltz. A lot of strange things happening over in the Democratic Party, bro.
And he's exacerbated the mental health crisis in Minnesota. He's exacerbated the anti-law enforcement, out-of-control crime in Minnesota. It's got to end. And the good news is Donald Trump is showing everyone. Not only did he campaign on making America safe again, but now he is showing everyone, starting with the District of Columbia, there is a way to fix this. And he's willing to partner with Tim Walz even. He's willing to partner with J.B. Pritzker. He doesn't care what their politics are. He is willing to partner with them to make them safe.
And he has told me that when I've interviewed him. He has told me that. He is willing to partner. He wants to work with people to make things better for all of America. Great to have you. And I will come back to Minneapolis and always tell the truth. Good to see you. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you, Harris.
Hey, it's Will Kane.
All right, let's load up. Let's load up the Scott Jennings segment. We're at the 52-minute mark. Hour almost up. Let's load up my Scott Jennings section, and we'll do a quick by the numbers and get the hell up out of here. I'm gonna do the Scott Jennings exchange. You see, we post a lot of Scott Jennings shorts because he's the only reason to watch Abby Phillips on CNN because he be handing these lefties their head. And Scott's got a YouTube channel now. He's got a radio show. I think it's from Kentucky, but he does he films it in the radio station. It's actually not bad. It's like old time talk radio.
Duke, I want to start with you on what Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said yesterday and his latest back and forth over the president's plans. Let's listen.
It's clear that in secret they're planning this. Well, it's an invasion with U.S. troops if they in fact do that. The other thing is, they ought to be coordinating with local law enforcement, but they don't want to do that either. And I must say it's disruptive. It's dangerous. It tends to inflame passions on the ground when they don't let us know what their plans are and when we can't coordinate with them.
His use of the word invasion, is that how you see it?
Invasion, no. Look, I don't like these National Guard deployments. I think that they should come with an invitation from the governor, as is historically the case. In the case of DC, it's
I don't know if Abby's the worst, but she's up there. I mean, we got Joy Reid. We got a couple. But she is. Abby Phillips is terrible. Y'all may remember before they gave her show. Y'all remember Abby Phillips is she's the one that did the interview with Cameron right during the initial Diddy joint. And Cam was like, had his horsepower joint. He said, I'm about to get some cheeks after that. That's the one. That's Abby Phillips. That's before they gave her show. So she was already B-list over at CNN. The only reason people watch Abby Phillips' show is for Scott Jennings, to watch him hand all these liberals their heads.
a little more complicated because it's within the president's power to do it here. But what's going on in Chicago is very bad in terms of crime. It's not a crisis, and I think that the problem is
It's very bad in terms of crime, but it's not a crisis. Who are primarily? What is the ethnicity of the people primarily getting killed? There were 50 people shot on Labor Day. The Democrats be saying the quiet part out loud, like right to your face, bro.
these sort of Baptist and bootlegger problems where you have this is great for Pritzker politically, and it's great for Trump politically to argue about crime, to argue about invasion, and all these kinds of things. I just don't think it's a wise policy.
You were smirking when you were listening to him.
Well, look, surging federal agents, ICE, CPB, to a state that has over 500,000 illegal immigrants in it. Many of them live in Chicago. I mean, the federal government is going to enforce federal law. I hear Pritzker complaining that there's no coordination, but I also heard the mayor say he's ordered the police department not to cooperate with federal officials on this immigration crackdown. So how are you supposed to cooperate if the mayor is ordering his own police force not to do so? The fact is you have people in this country illegally. The president has promised since he was running his campaign last year that he planned to crack down on illegal immigration. He's sending federal agents to Illinois to do that. I'm not entirely certain why everybody is so angry or surprised about this. I mean, we're here enforcing federal immigration law in a city that we can argue about whether it's a crisis or not, but there were 53 shootings there over the weekend. It's pretty violent.
We should also be clear. They were talking about sending the National Guard in long before they were talking about this ICE operation. These two things have now become merged.
He's saying they're on standby. About to say this. What is it? What is happening here in Chicago? First, it's about crime, if you listen to Trump. Now, apparently, it's about immigration enforcement.
It's about both. These liberals never have a freaking argument.
I mean, when you are talking about, no wonder people are confused, no wonder people are alarmed, because if it is not clear what the purpose of these kinds of operations are, people are going to assume the worst. I mean, here in DC, apparently it's about crime, except most of what we've seen has been immigration enforcement. Now you're going to move to a U.S. city, Chicago, where apparently it is about immigration enforcement if it's the president, but it's not. It's about crime. Like, what are we talking about?
Aren't they one and the same?
Right. And it's both, doofus. She really thought she sounded smart there. It's about both. We're going to get illegal immigrants, and we're gonna shut down local crime.
If you're in the country illegally, you're a
people.
criminal.
No, that's not the same thing. And
What? Why?
That's, it's a civil offense
if you cross the border.
Oh my gosh!
No, but wait a second. You are trying to make.
If you're here breaking U.S. immigration law,
okay, you are trying to say that anyone in this country illegally is some kind of murder or killer. Crime is a different thing. Shootings, muggings, the things the president talks about are different than immigration enforcement. Those are two different things. They're dealt with by different groups of law enforcement. They are two different things. To conflate them is disingenuous.
I don't know why they wouldn't all need to be dealt with.
Let me just jump in, because you talked about immigration, and then you brought up what happened in Chicago over the weekend. Those are two different things. The 53 shot in Chicago over the weekend, that is true. And on that note, ABC News had this headline: 53 shot over the weekend in Chicago as governor rejects Trump's threat to send in National Guard. If you look at it through the crime prism here, what do you say to people, Adrian, who see that headline and say, well, maybe this isn't such a bad idea?
Well, I think, look, here's what's happening. I can at least speak to what's happening here in Washington, D.C., where I've lived for the past 30 years. Yes, crime is an issue here, but sending in the National Guard is not the way to solve for this. Put more cops on the street. Give the federal government of Washington, D.C. more funds to hire more cops so that you actually have more community policing, so you have police officers who are integrated into the community that are helping to solve these issues of crime. Instead, you're sending in the National Guard, which is causing intimidation, which is causing a lot of discord among communities. We've all seen the viral videos of people being yanked off of their scooters and thrown into cars with people in masks that you're like, are these actually National Guard members? Are they ICE members? Who are these people? So at the end of the day, I do agree that, yes, it's politically good. If we're going to talk about politics, politically good for Pritzker and I guess politically good for Trump. But at the end of the day, Trump is trying to use the National Guard in a way that's not being received well in communities. And I think he is going down a very dangerous path. If he's using the National Guard for this, is he going to decide that he...
And mind you, this woman does not live in the neighborhood that she's actually talking about. Doesn't need any policing.
doesn't like the way the elections are being run in
Let me ask you,
2026.
Scott, because
Is he going to use the National Guard for that?
Can I just respond to the National Guard? You told me you haven't been here all month. I've been here every week this month since they've been deployed.
I've been here all summer, Scott, except for the last 2 weeks. So I've lived here in Washington,
So since
DC.
National Guard's been deployed?
Yeah, but the bottom, you cannot sit here and tell me that I don't know how it's affecting my community that I've lived in for a very long time.
Here's what I'm telling you. I've been walking around here all weekend and every week for the last several weeks since they've been deployed. Here's what I've seen. I've seen extremely friendly National Guard members having extremely friendly interactions. I've seen them pose for numerous pictures. Other than a few soreheads out doing protesting who tend to protest everything, I think they have been extremely well received from my observations, and they've been quite a bit. I've been here for most of the last
good use of our National Guard to come into communities.
We've arrested thousands of criminals, taken illegal guns off the street, picked up illegal aliens, and gotten some pretty
and
bad
intimidated
characters.
people in communities and created just discord across.
All I'll say
people
is
who
the
are
numbers
wondering
don't
why
back
there's
this up.
a
I mean,
police
just
state
the
in
numbers don't
Washington,
back up.
D.C.
The numbers don't back up the contention that this has been hugely effective. What you've seen absolutely is a huge trend of crime going down, as one would expect when you have a huge surge of law enforcement, but obviously.
Look at that face.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
All right, bet. Let's do by the numbers and get up out of here. We at the 1 hour mark. Do a quick by the numbers segment. Let me see, what do I got? Here we go. 2026. How is this House Senate? I mean, this is House. And I'll probably play the beginning and jump through it. But this is recent. This is from the what this number set is. Okay. This data set's 24 hours old. All right, let's go. And these forecast map projections for the House 2026 on our way to the midterms.
This video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we did our Senate and governor's predictions for the month of September already. And today we're going to be finishing our prediction blitz with the House prediction, which again, that's where all eyes are on, because I think that the governors are pretty much going to be a net zero trade-off for the most part. Maybe Republicans could even have a net gain. But when it comes down to the Senate, even if the Democrats gain a seat or two, which I think it's kind of pushing it to say two, the Republicans are going to have control over the Senate. And the House is really just the one that's up for grabs that everybody's going to be watching, because it's on a knife's edge. You have this whole redistricting war that is going on. And already in the consensus toss-up map, as things stand today, and this is pending new redistricting that is taking place in several states, Republicans are at 212, meaning they only need 6 out of the 21 districts in the toss-up column to hold on to the House. And even if Democrats win all of them, they're still not really having a commanding majority. That'd only be a gain of about 8 House seats over the Republicans. That's not really all that impressive. That's historically abysmal for a party out of power during a midterm year. In fact, it's even weaker than 2022 was for the Republicans. So without further ado, we're going to fill out this map, and we're going to go state by state, and we're going to account for redistricting as well, and we're going to see who is going to be favored in the House. So we'll start off here. Alabama, nothing there, nothing in Alaska. Arizona, there's 2 districts here. If David Schweikert retires, I really believe that you could make the case that the Democrats would win that district, but I think he's going to hold on. I think Juan Ciscomani's going to hold on, especially as Arizona is kind of going through some sort of a rightward shift when it comes down to the voter registration, and it's continuing. So Arkansas, nothing. California, this is where I think Democrats are going to pass that referendum. They're going to draw out several Republican districts. They're going to shore up the 13th in their column. The 3rd district is going to go, I think, one of these districts down here, and then they're going to get the 48th shored up into the Democrat column. So they do eat into the Republicans' margin off redistricting, but we're not done with redistricting yet. Then we go to Colorado, where you have this district here, Gabe Evans. He is a strong candidate. His former opponent's going to be running, who has some health issues. I don't know if that's really going to play much of a role here. She did lose as an incumbent. Could she come back if the environment permits? In the state of Colorado, it's possible. I think it's still going to be very, very close, though. That's a seat that could be going back and forth for the rest of the decade. So nothing in Connecticut or Delaware, but Florida, this is where Republicans, on the other hand, are going to go on offense and just combat California with redistricting. We're talking about 4 seats that are just going to be redrawn in favor of the Republicans, and that's going to get them to 214. So they're getting closer and closer. So nothing in Georgia, Hawaii, or Idaho, Illinois. Talk about gerrymandering. That's a disaster. Indiana, here's another one. It's possible Republicans could even try to divide Indianapolis. I don't know if they're going to do that. But that first district, which is already trending to the right, Trump almost won it. I do believe that that district there, if they redraw, they're going to easily be able to pack it, make it more Republican. That gets Republicans to 215. Then we go to Iowa, where Mariannette Miller Meeks, that district, she is facing a primary challenger. She's fairly weak. She's a fairly weak candidate, and that we know. She underran Donald Trump by 8.3%, although she did just fine in the midterm environment in 2022. Honestly, judging based on the range of potential outcomes from a primary challenger to her just doing better in the midterm environment for some reason, I think that this has a 50% chance or more of staying in the Republican column. So there you go. Kansas, nothing there, nothing in Kentucky or Louisiana. Maine, it's a little controversial of a take, but I think that Jared Golden's going to go down. You got Paula Page, who won the district 3 times when he was running for governor. I think that you're going to see this district go Republican. I think Jared Golden, polarization will catch up to him to a certain degree. He may have to endorse Susan Collins to save his reelection bid, which is going to be interesting. But Maine, Maryland, nothing there. Massachusetts, nothing there. Michigan, this is interesting. You have the 10th district. That's Macomb County. It's trending to the right. That district is Trump +6, and John James is running for governor. I think it's going to be close, but I think Republicans hold on. Democrats in that 7th district, is Tom Barrett going to be able to hold on? There's a chance. He does tend to, have appeal to more traditional Republicans that are more likely to show up for a midterm. I honestly think that the 7th in Michigan, as it stands right now, if you're going to have a close race at the top of the ticket, a close Senate race, I think Tom Barrett holds on as it stands now. Minnesota, nothing. Mississippi, nothing. Missouri, they're going to go in there and they're going to take Kansas City and they're going to make that a safe district. So Republicans usually will use a lean or likely to kind of classify the flips. But regardless, that district is going to go in the Republican column. So they tack on a +1. Nothing in Montana. Nebraska, the 2nd district will be a flip, but nothing else. Nevada, nothing there, although the dam could very well break. It is a dummy mander. New Hampshire, nothing there. New Jersey, I think Keene holds on in the 7th. He's got the SALT deductions to tout, and he usually does overperform. So New Mexico, that district in a presidential year, I think it has a good shot of going red, but I don't know who the Republican candidate is right now. I think Democrats hold on to it. So the state of New York, Laura Gillen, that district that is moving to the right, I think she might be able to hold on. She is like opposing Zoran Mamandi to save her career, so maybe that helps her. North Carolina, that 1st district, this is going to be an interesting one, because in a midterm environment, the 1st district is usually more Republican favorable. I just don't know if they really have a candidate there yet, what's going on. But it's going to be really close. I think that Democrats are going to put a lot of resources into it. Maybe that saves Don Davis for some reason. But regardless, I think that Republicans could end up flipping that. It's another flip for Republicans if they do well. Nothing in North Dakota. Ohio, here we go. More redistricting fun. I've heard they may even try to go for 3 seats in the state of Ohio, but I think that Landsman might be able to hold on even if they make the first redder, and that would put Republicans at 223. So they actually have gained seats in the House as things stand with the current map. 7th district and the 10th district in Pennsylvania. I know that the mayor of Scranton's running in the 8th district. I think she falls short. I think it would be close, but I think she falls short. So the 7th district, Ryan McKenzie, I don't know who he's facing. Susan Wild's not going for it. I think that one stays Republican. As for Scott Perry's district, this one, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I think Democrats might finally have the upper hand because some of those Harrisburg suburbs are indeed trending to the left. And I think in an environment, Democrats might be able to capitalize on it. So it would be sad to lose them, but I think that it very well could happen. So the state of Texas, the 28th district, this one depends on the trial of Henry Cuellar. I think that, like I said with Iowa, there's more possibilities of the seat going red than going blue with all the avenues and hypotheticals that we could go out there and end up taking. And
all right, so far we got Republicans 225, Democrats 206. Let's jump ahead and close to the summary numbers to see what we got. Let's go.
They think they can beat him, and I actually think that they could beat him too. So regardless, 226 for the Republicans, 208 for the Democrats. The redistricting war, by the way, would have netted Republicans 4 seats in Texas. It would have netted them 4 or 5 seats in Texas in this map, 4 in Florida, 2 in Ohio, and then 1 in Missouri and Indiana. So if you did the math, it would only really net them about like 7 seats, which is still good. But keep in mind that even if you didn't have that, Republicans would still win the House. So Democrats wouldn't even be able to complain about it in this map if this prediction comes true. Wait a minute. Did we forget a House seat somewhere? I think we might have. And we did. California's 45th, Derek Tran. We did forget a House seat there. So, yeah, that one, because of the new map, is probably going to be blue. But regardless, 226 to 209, that's not that bad for the Republicans. And like I said, even doing the math of the redistricting war, Republicans would still win the House without it. So Democrats can whine, but it wouldn't even make a difference. Anyways, guys, make sure you guys like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel.
All right, good. Well, let's cross our fingers the map stays pretty close to this running into the midterms. We keep a majority in the Senate and the House. We'll be able to finish up a fairly decent, good term for Trump. Lawfare will continue nonetheless, but I think Trump is winning most of these lawsuits on appeal. And every time they go before the Supreme Court, they tend to walk home with a victory. On that note, it's my time for this evening. I want to thank you guys for coming out. I'll see you again tomorrow. Good night and good luck.
Shit, boy. Think I'm gonna be the scapegoat for the whole damn machine? Shit.
Clarence is gonna...
Shit, as far as the federal money's concerned, he's everything. The faucet, the goose. Oh, goose. The one that lays them golden eggs. Major crimes. Shit. They gonna come talk to me about money laundering in West Baltimore? Shit. Looking forward to working with you. Shouldn't you be dead to me? Shit. I took it easy on you, son. Pie in the sky. Shit, partner. And it's your people up in my shit. Not no feds, not no safe people from Annapolis. It's motherfuckers from my own city. For all that profile? Shit, partner, you should be paying me a fee. Maurice Doby? For governor of my state? Shit.
In a shocking development, the federal government says being broke is allowed, but if you're broke and glowing, you are officially now a suspect.
You can't be glowing more than your financial status. Look your problem.